even if 2.7 does get to 150 cards, having it in its own booster pack will help contain itself, and it'll also be nice to have a booster pack which has just got the original artwork from Afco's 1 as well. So if you didn't like the artwork from Afco's 1, but for whatever reason, then you don't necessarily have to buy a 2.7 booster pack. You can just buy a classic standard booster pack, which will have everything from 2.0 to 2.6 in. So on screen we are going to start off with Field Warden. So we've designed about 12 cards at the moment in 2.7. It's a bit slow at the moment because I'm starting off with the rares and the royalty rares, and I've just got to make sure that I need to put extra time into the rares just to make sure that one, they're not too overpowered, and two, rares and royalty rares also have an X-Glare variant which takes a little bit more time editing, whereas the commons and the uncommons I can just sling them out as fast as I want, but the rares and the royalty rares I kind of take a bit more time with them just to make sure that they're not too unruly. So we've got Field Warden. This is a 4-cost assault unit. She's got 4 attack, 5 health, and it basically says whenever one of your Knight class units attacks or counter-attacks, it gains a 1 attack and 1 health for the turn. So it's a nice little support. I was in two worlds whether to have it as an assault or whether to have it as a reinforce. The skill kind of feels a bit reinforcey to me, to be a reinforce type unit, but the artwork I felt it was more of an assault unit than it was a reinforce. So yeah, there's that card, which I did, and I've not actually used that. I think that was on the borderline for the beta set. This artwork, but yeah, I never brought this one into the beta set. So the next one is Blue Tipped Flames. It's a 3-cost action card. Basically, you get to deal 3 damage to any unit in play, which is a little bit expensive for 3 damage. However, it says you may remove 5 unit cards from your dead zone from the game. If you do, deal another 3 damage to any unit in play. So you've got an option now. If you really need to get a pesky unit out of the way with 3 damage, you can just pay the 3 charges and deal 3 damage to wherever you want. If, however, you happen to have a slightly bigger threat on the field and you didn't have much graveyard play or dead zone play, if we call it here, you can ultimately deal 6 damage to 1 unit or 2 lots of 3 damage to 2 separate units. So I think that's a pretty cool card, and it kept the same card name as well, Blue Tipped Flames. And if you can see on the artwork, you can just about see a little bit of blue shading on the artwork, just on the edges of literally on the tips of the flames, and there's little people stuck in the flames as well.
Love the artwork on that
You
one.
can see a few more little people just stuck in the flames. It's like an Atari oily type situation. Then we've got Mount Olympus. Now this was not actually called Mount Olympus in the first game. Actually can't. I think it was just used as a terrain. I think it was a special terrain card, this one. So it's a 5-cost defensive unit for 8 health. So you may notice that usually defensives go on a 1 to 2 cost to health ratio because they obviously can't attack or counter attack. So this has actually got a lower health ratio than it does a play cost. Really it should have 10 health, but it's got a pretty decent skill. So it says, whenever this unit survives battle, recover this unit's base health value back to 8. Up to twice per turn. Whenever either player rolls a 6 in battle, this unit gains 1 health for the turn. So what this card basically means is when your opponent tries to attack this defensive unit, they need to deal 8 damage to take it out. Otherwise, if you swing with 4 damage and plan to swing with another 4 damage, it will recover all of its health back after the first swing. So the opponent needs a pretty chunky unit to be able to take out this defensive unit. The next one was Judgment. This was a set 1 art card from Rafago's 1. I think this is one of the very first pictures what I drew actually, and it is basically it's a 5 cost and it's very basic. Destroy any one unit currently in play. So any unit, it could be a
Classic
Rhaenys.
removal.
Yeah, it could be a you could target a Rhaenys and also anything anything you wanted to. It'll be out. You could even target a 1/1 creature if you wanted to, but that wouldn't be worth the money. um, Next one is Obelisk of War. This was from set 1 in Ravkos 1, and it shares the same name. It's the same, pretty much. It pretty much does the same thing. It pretty much is the same card, which has been brought forward, and it's a 4-cost wonder, so it just sits off to the side, and it says, once per turn, you may choose to re-roll any one of your unit's battle rolls before damage. So let's say you've got the Obliterator Cannon, which is coming up soon. If you don't roll your 6, what you need to hit it, you can use this Wonders effect to re-roll that unit and try and get that 6 again. So that's a nice bit of support for you during battle. Speak of a devil, here's the Obliterator Cannon. Now this thing is an absolute monster. So it's a 5 cost and it's got 10 attack.
That's massive.
Yeah, if it hits Rhaenys, it will actually kill him. However, you need to get a 6 for this monster to hit. That's where Obelisk of War comes in handy, because if you don't get your 6, you get a second shot at rolling this 6. And then get this. When this unit hits in battle, roll a second die. A 1 to a 2 means you deal 3 damage to all enemy units. You never know, that might just be enough to wipe out a lot of the pesky units what the opponent has got in play. A 3 to 4, it deals one direct damage point to the enemy core's health. And then here's where it gets juicy. Roll a 5, deal 10 damage to all enemy units. So it's like the first ability, but just much more powerful. And then a 6 is deal 3 damage to the enemy core. So yeah, you could attack the enemy core. If they've got no defensive units, you could try and go for the core with this card. Roll a 6, and then if you roll a second die and got a 6 again, 2 lots of 6s, you'll basically do 4 damage to the enemy core, which is like almost half of its current HP, of its maximum HP. So yeah, watch out for that one.
That is a fearsome card to deal with.
Yeah. Another wonder, but this is actually a weather card. So the difference with the weather cards is you can only have one weather in play. So if I played a heat wave and then you could play Clouds of Chaos, and it would basically remove the heat wave. It would destroy the heat wave card. There can only be one weather in play for obvious reasons. It's a weather card. And this one is a 3 cost. It's called Clouds of Chaos. And it says, whenever your opponent's units need to roll a die, increase that value by 1. Now the good thing is, let's say you've got a unit and you decide to attack or counter attack with it, and it needs a 3 to hit, and then you roll a 3. This will increase it by 1 to make it 4, which ultimately basically says that unit, it assists in that unit missing. So it's good for me, but it wouldn't be good for you. The other thing as well is it doesn't say for battle only, so it can be fun on actual abilities in the ability box. So when it says, obviously a die can only go up to 6, so you can't get 7 on a d6 die, but everything else, it's like, let's say, for example, Obliterator Cannon. It could be bad against an enemy Obliterator Cannon, because if they hit the enemy core and they roll their second die, Clouds of Chaos would increase that second die value by 1. So it's got its pros and cons. It helps you in a player in a way, because it increases the inaccuracy of that unit's battle roll. However, it also increases the everything in this little box as well. So where it says 1 to 2 deal 3 damage to an enemy units, it will actually could potentially knock it into the next set of skills on that card's text. So yeah, it's a very unique card to have, because it can help you or it can mess with you. Hence the word Clouds of Chaos. Um, Ella, Wandering Child. Ella is one of the fast support cards from the first game. Basically, in the original game, um, whenever you played her, you got to draw a card, so it's very good on turn one. This one's a little bit different, so it says if you have units called Neom and Sasanthe in play, this unit cannot be targeted by your opponent. Now, in lore-wise, Neom and Sasanthe is Ella's parents, so they kind of shield her and put an umbrella over her. Whenever your core loses HP, you may choose to draw 3 cards. So, again, if you're struggling and this card's out on the field, it's a reinforced unit, which sometimes the opponent typically sometimes doesn't go after the reinforced units because it's less of a threat than an assault and a defensive. But if that enemy hits your core, then you choose to draw 3 cards. So that's optional in case the opponent has got Blood Tree out, but you can choose to draw 3 cards if you're struggling with the game. If you're on the losing side, she might just pull you back into the play with the 3 cards, what you might possibly need to prevent you from dying. And then here's Sasanthe. This is Neom's wife. Neom is obviously the royalty rare unit in the Knights 2.1. So Sasanthe is another reinforced unit, just like a daughter. And it says the reinforced assault and defensive units each gain 2 health for as long as Sasanthe stays in play. So she basically buffs the unit above her and the unit below her, defensives as well.